daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel, the Daily Newcastle. Although we're not talking about Newcastle today, we are talking about international pride, as England took on Wales in the friendly match titled the Alzheimer's Society International. I'm Michael Grahamslaw and I'll be talking about the game, but going into it, England had won 7 in a row against Wales, with their visitors failing to win in England since 1984, and unfortunately for the Welsh, Big Brother was watching and ruling once again as England ran out easy winners. But before we get into the game, let's take a little look at the lineup. Pickford in goal, pretty much expected. He's probably going to be there for another 4 or 5 years. It was the biggest test, the international break, so I'm not surprised. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Dean Henderson against Latvia in Riga. He does need to get some game time in there, otherwise you risk having a Rob Green incident, and we definitely don't want that in the US. So, yeah, limited options at goalkeeper, really. It's always going to be Jordan Pickford, isn't it? Limited options also at right back. Ezri Konsa was in that position today due to the injuries to Tino Livramento, Reece James, Trent Alexander-Arnold, just to name a few. He's played there a bit over his career, but having centre-back at right-back allows you to push into that back three with a real attacking left-back pushing forward. In this case, that was Jed Spence. Not really too sure how I like Jed Spence on the left-hand side, to be honest. I'm happy to be proven wrong. I just think he's a bit of an average player. But still young, got a lot of time to improve. And I don't mind him playing there when Tino and Hall are both out through injury. Centre-back pairings, well, for me, this is England's, although I think it's the third choice and the fourth choice at the moment for Tuchel, I think it's our strongest backline pairing, personally. And that's nothing against Big Dan Burn or Ezri Konsa, but Mark Gay and John Stones are two of the best ball-playing defenders that England have. In fact, no, they are the two best ball-playing defenders that England have, and they're two of the best in the Premier League. I'm not going to go as far to say the world, because we're English. We don't really play that style of football as well as the Spanish, for example. Yeah, that's just something we've got to come to accept. But those two are what England need when they play against the likes of Wales. The ability to pass out from the back. I love Dan Burn, but passing, not really what he would stick at the top of his CV. Two players that might stick passing at the top of the CV is the two centre midfielders, Elliot Anderson and Declan Rice. They complement each other so well. They have done over the last 3 games. It's very impressive. Although, I think as an individual, I'm still not convinced by Elliot Anderson in England shirt. But I do have to say he hasn't put a foot wrong in the white of England, but hasn't really played anyone of any difficulty. So we'll see how he does in the tougher matches. I hope that he does really well. And then on the wings, Saka made a return on the right wing, and let's be honest, he's the best player in that position for England by a country mile. On the opposite side was Anthony Gordon, who hasn't been great for Newcastle this season, let's be honest, and probably is the player in the team that's most at risk of losing his spot due to the likes of Eberechi Eze, Marcus Rashford, who came on today, and maybe even Jack Grealish, who seems to be having a bit of a career resurgence at Everton. Then up top wasn't Harry Kane. It was the European Championships semi-final hero, Ollie Watkins, who got his chance up front, only due to an injury by Kane, unfortunately. But yeah, England are really lacking in that forward position when Kane's not around, isn't he? So you need Ollie Watkins to be electric, really, every chance he gets. And credit to him, he does get goals for England, although they have dried up a little bit at club level. But going into the game, it was Anthony Gordon who had the first chance of the game in the first minute, actually. It was great link-up, starting on the left-hand side with Gordon, knocking it out to Saka on the right-hand side, in centrally to Rodgers, knocks it back to Gordon. Gordon, about on the penalty spot, just takes it outright to a little bit, beats his man, gets around his man, and then forces Caldalo into a good save early on. Former Magpie, Caldalo, should I say, who finally got his game at Wembley, which was what most of the build-up seemed to be about, I can't lie. But very happy for the former Mag. From the corresponding corner, so about 2 minutes in, England led. It's a deep corner, headed by John Stones. It's going harmlessly out of play, and it's excellently kept alive by Mark Gay, who stops the ball from going out on the line. Plays it back to Rodgers. It's a brilliant cutback as well, by the way. There'd be some wingers that would be really happy with that. Knocks the ball back to Rodgers, hits it first time into the bottom corner. Excellent finish, excellent move. All round, great from England. But it didn't stop there. It was 2-0 in 10 minutes, and it was Ollie Watkins who got the second. Saka with a great cross, again from a corner. Over on the left this time, Saka with the cross. Rodgers is the one who wins it at the back post to knock it back across goal. And Ollie Watkins had probably the easiest finish you would ever see. But you've got to be there to score it. And let me tell you, there's a lot of strikers who wouldn't be there. I will say I'm not sure if VAR was in play. I don't think it was. I think it actually would have been offside if it was, let's say, in a Premier League game. But it's safe to say, 2 goals in 10 minutes. England started well. Yeah, it actually got better, to be honest. It was. You'd think I'd have something to talk about other than goals in the first 30 minutes, but that's pretty much it. Gordon starts the first goal. We know for Newcastle, Alanga had a bit of trouble against Nico Williams. Gordon did not have that problem. Gordon basically back to goal about 40 yards out. Ball comes to his feet. He just drags the ball around Nico Williams as Nico Williams tries to press and just gets away. He had that 4 or 5 times against the Welshman. He was absolutely fantastic in that first half, Anthony Gordon. Gordon beats his man, gets down, gets to the edge of the box, pulls it back to Anderson. Anderson tries a shot. It's blocked. He gets the ball back. It ricochets a little bit. England gain control of the ball again. Sort of 2 or 3 passes on the edge of the box. Finds the way into the box towards Saka, who's pretty much on the corner. Beats his man, jinks his way around the fullback, and just curls the ball into the top corner to beat Caldalo. An absolutely beautiful finish, and it was textbook Bukayo Saka. I feel sorry for Caldalo, to be honest, because there was literally nothing he could do about any of the goals. But yeah, it was a tough start for him. And I will say, for me, this is actually probably the reason why I don't think Craig Bellamy will end up being a top manager. Didn't mind him as a player, great player. Could have been one of the best. Maybe attitude's what got him to where he was. For me, it's what held him back a little bit. And he's always had a bit of an ego and a superiority complex. Belgium, when they played them, I think it was 3 games ago, they went 3-0 up against them in similar time. And I don't know if it was because Wales managed to equalise in that game. He hadn't learned from his lessons quite clearly, because there is no shame in playing that extra defender and slowing the momentum of the game early to try and get a result. Bellamy's selection, for me, got it wrong. Allowed England to play their own way, dominate Wales in every way, and then overwhelm them, particularly on the press in England's final third. I thought the number of mistakes made by Welsh players, little slips on the ball, trying to take on players when a clear pass is available, or when you do play that pass, it's a 3-4 yard pass and it just goes behind the player and makes it really hard for him to endure the press. And that's something Bellamy can't prepare for, I guess, when the players aren't playing like they are in training, because they certainly weren't going to be playing like that in training. But you don't get pressed like England do in your average training game. So credit to England. I think it took Wales about 28 minutes to get beyond the press for the first time. And even when they did, England won a free kick 35 yards out. So credit to England. I think, to be honest, Wales' best chance of the half was actually from England passing it round the back. And their best chance of the half, I don't actually think a Welsh player touched the ball, which is it sounds harsh, but it's probably true. England pass it around the back. It's a poor first touch from Jordan Pickford. Almost tries to knock it forward. The ball almost rolls backward a little bit, and it gives him a really awkward second touch. But he just toe pokes it, should I say, not toe pokes it, into the defender, and it's really easy for England to break the press. But yeah, then came probably the most concerning moment of the game for England. Ollie Watkins should have had his second. I don't think a single person at England cares if he got the goal or not. It led to the most worrying moment of the game, as I say. England brilliantly play the ball behind the Welsh line. Elliot Anderson fires the ball across goal. It is a sitter. Watkins gets the ball, but as he's planting his foot to stop himself from going into the post, he almost slips and smashes his shin into the post. And by his reaction, I think he was wearing smaller shin pads because they certainly didn't seem to cover that part of the leg. It looked, to be honest, from his reaction, it looked like a leg breaker at first, and I'm really, really glad that wasn't the case. And he's okay, well, by the looks of things. But that was pretty much it for the first half. Not a lot happens in the second, but before we get to that, we'll do our advert for the episode, which is from Bionic.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionic, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionic provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right levels to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN 2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionic. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
So for the second half, Ollie Watkins went off, which is probably as expected given the incident we just mentioned. But on came Marcus Rashford, who for England, I don't know about you, but I'd much rather see as a striker, or an impact sub, should I say, than on that left wing. So I was very happy with that. And to be honest, it took about 6 minutes for England to create another chance in the second half. A short corner, shock. It's also 100% offside. But it isn't given, which is mental. Rice passes the ball out. I can't remember off the top of my head who he passes the ball to, but very quickly it's passed straight back to Rice, who is 4 or 5 yards offside. He finds Elliot Anderson on the edge of the box, who puts in a beautiful through ball for Morgan Rodgers, it must be said. And Rodgers thunders the ball off the bar. Should have been 4-0, really. And that was probably the best chance of the second half for both teams. Wales come into the game a lot more. You could tell England were stuck in second gear, really. There's a ball that flies over from the right-hand side, from the Welsh right-back position, all the way over the England defence, and David Brooks is actually left unmarked on the left side of the box. Probably penalty area, penalty spot side, but just a little to the left. And he hammers the ball straight at Jordan Pickford. And in the same move, it looked like another England injury scare as Stones went down injured. He walked that one off, although he did come off later in the game. But yeah, it was the second half that really lost its tempo. Job done for both sides, I guess. Or job done for England. Mission failed, probably, for Wales. Although, albeit they did try and get into the game. They never really forced England to get out of second gear, as I say, but Chris Mepham forced Pickford into another decent save in the second half. Pretty much the same as the first chance I mentioned. Ball comes over from the deep right-hand side. Chris Mepham gets almost a diving header on it and forces Pickford into a good save, but it's one you'd expect a keeper of Jordan Pickford's quality to make. As for subs, England brought on Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Jordan Henderson, Jarrod Bowen, Miles Lewis-Skelly, and Morgan Gibbs-White. For Elliot Anderson, Declan Rice, Morgan Rodgers, John Stones, and Bukayo Saka. But honestly, the only time I wrote their names down in my notes was when the substitutions happened. It was a very boring affair. Unfortunately, there was no surprise that a number of fans left early. I say a boring affair. Second half I'm talking about. First half was electric. I don't think England or Wales looked like scoring at all in that second half, and I think the white flag could have easily been raised and we could have just gone on to the Latvia game 45 minutes earlier. But on the Newcastle side, Anthony Gordon did move to striker for periods of the game. Him and Rashford sort of rotated in that position. Neither really had enough time or space to show what they could do. And ultimately, the game was over after about 10 minutes. England were professional in the second half, electric in the first, and now it's off to Riga to face Latvia next time out, which should be, to be honest, an easier game than we saw at Wembley, which probably isn't possible. Well, actually, ask Austria. They'll tell you it's possible. But for this game, I have to give my man of the match to Morgan Rodgers. Incredibly out of form in the Premier League. He was booed by some of the Villa faithful. Although what I will say is they were shut down very quickly by the vast majority of Villa fans. So credit to Villa fans for that. But to be booed by some of your fan base, be out of form in the Premier League for your club, to come in and do that for England, it's a great performance in the first half. Comes off about 60 minutes. But absolutely excellent from Morgan Rodgers. He's such a unique player and one that I think England will need going forward. But it's another win, another clean sheet for England, and it's without about 10 players that you would expect to be in the squad. It's a friendly, so we can't look too much into it. And there was nothing really to note on the Newcastle United side, as pretty much everyone plays tomorrow, I believe. So from us, it's good night.
Your daily soccer podcast with the Global Sports Podcast Network.